I don't think this tutorial needs much of an introduction. HTML is of course the language used on the internet, mainly for the structure and content of websites, but used in nearly every website nonetheless. I'm going to be using Notepad in Windows for this tutorial, just to demonstrate how easily you can create an HTML document. Hopefully by the end of this tutorial you'll have a good understanding of the structure of HTML. You'll not be an expert, but you should have good knowledge of essentially how HTML works, which you can then build on and progress from there. So, we've got a blank document here in Notepad. HTML is made up of tags. Now, a tag is how HTML defines different areas and sections of the document, and it's how a web browser would read and interpret the code essentially. So the first tag you need in HTML is simply the HTML tag. Now most tags in HTML need opening and closing. So see up here we've got the opening HTML tag, simply the word HTML in between these symbols, and then down here we've got the closing HTML tag, which is nearly the same of course as with a forward slash put in there, and that defines a closing tag. So everything in this particular HTML file will now go in between these tags. So I'm gonna use tab to indent the tags within it. It's good practice, it makes HTML much easier to read. So within the HTML tags we have two sections. We have the head section, so we have an opening and closing head tag, and then the body, which needs an opening and closing body tag. So this is simply the basis and the basic structure of an HTML file. So I'm just going to go through some vital tags and some really basic ones that you need to know to start building websites in HTML. So in the head section, this is where like information about the page would go. In the body section, this is where the actual content which is displayed to the user would go. So we'll start in the head section. All we really need up here for now is the title tag. Now this is the text displayed in a web browser's title bar. So we'll just stick in there hello world, for example. So if we were to save this now, we must remember to save it as an HTML file. You can just change in Notepad the save as type to all files and then type .html simply as the file extension. So if we were to save that and then open it in a web browser, we would get a blank page, but it should say hello world in the title bar. Okay, so we've got a blank page, but it says hello world up here in the title bar. So now we want to add some content to the page. So usually the first thing you would want is a title. HTML has some handy heading tags. We've got H1, which would create the biggest heading. A heading in terms of style simply increases the font size and makes it bold. So that would be opened and closed, just the same as the other tags we've used so far. Then after H1 you have H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6, which get smaller each time. So H6 would be the smallest heading you could have. So H1 would be the main heading, then you'd use H2 as a subheading, for example. So we're just going to use one for now and stick hello world in there. And I'll keep switching to Internet Explorer so you can see the progress we're making. So now we have a heading, hello world. Obvious, that's what we've just created there. So after the heading you'd want some text potentially, and maybe a paragraph of text, so we'd use the P tag. P of course for paragraph. This is also opened and then closed with the text inside. So we could do that, and if we save it, refresh the page, we get a paragraph of text underneath. And because we're using the correct tags, the heading tag and the paragraph tag, and the H1 and the P, the web browser and HTML automatically sets the line spacing, the indents, everything as we would expect to see it. If you wanted another paragraph, it would be a simple case of adding more P tags, and then if I just do that, you'll see there's another paragraph there, again with the line spacing automatically added for us. So you're building an HTML web-based website, you may want an image. So we're going to create an image. Again, I'm doing all of this from scratch just so you can, to hopefully help you understand exactly how it works. So if I just create a new image, let's call it image.bmp. Of course it's just an empty file at the moment. So we can just create an image. Of course it doesn't really matter what's in it, because it's the HTML we're working with here. So we've got an image. We're now going to look at the tag we need to put the image into the web page. So this uses the img tag. But of course an img tag alone wouldn't get us much of an image. The way this one works is we set properties within the tag itself. So we set the path to the image file. And we use src for this, and then it's equals and open and close quotes. And within the quotes we put the path. So I can just use a relative path. I'm not going to go too much into how relative and absolute paths work, but essentially relative path I can simply type image.bmp, and since it's in the same folder as this HTML file, it will work. I could of course go through the full thing by typing like c:\documents or whatever it is in your version of Windows, etc. But there's no need since they're in the same folder. If it was in kind of an image folder, it would be images/images.bmp. If it was in a folder one level up, you use .. to go up a level. This is when using relative file paths, which is usually much easier. So also in the image tag you can set things like width. You would do it in the same way. You could do it in pixels, you can do it in %. If you don't put those properties in, then it just displays the original size of the image. So the image tag doesn't actually have a closing tag, because if you think about it, we define everything about the image within the tag itself. So if we opened and closed the tag, there's nothing to go inside. So what we do, we can't just leave it like that. So it's a self-closing tag. We just put a / at the end of the tag before, like, essentially closing the opening tag, and that makes it open and close all at once. So if we save that and go back to our web page, we can see that lovely image I just created in Paint. So it's as simple as that to add an image to a web page using the img tag. So I'm going to quickly go over a couple more tags that you would use on a regular basis. If, for example, we had another sentence in this paragraph. This is my first web page. I hope you like it. Just so you can see what that looks like, as you'd expect. This is my first web page. I hope you like it. But what if we wanted that second sentence on the next line? Yes, we could use another paragraph tag and put it in a new paragraph, but that's not just the next line, that's a couple of lines down. If we want to do that, we use the break tag for just a line break, and that's simply BR. Now again, there's nothing that could go inside of a break, so this is another self-closing tag. Now you could just do it like that, that would work in HTML, but that's probably a better way to do it. So if we save that and have a look at the results, you can see it just goes on to the next line without leaving any spaces. So the final tag I'm going to show you in this tutorial, probably not one you'd use loads, the HR tag. Now this creates a horizontal line across the page. So again, there's nothing that could go inside a horizontal line, so it self-closes. It's as simple as that. It'll sort out the spacing for us, hopefully. And we see we get a grey line across, so you could use that to separate different sections of a web page. So we've created a basic HTML page. Just to recap, we've got the HTML tags, which everything else goes in, and then inside the HTML tag we've got the head and the body tags. Inside the head tag we put the title tag, which is what displays in the title bar of a web browser, and inside the body tag we have the heading, the paragraph, the horizontal line in this case, another paragraph, and an image. Not a fantastic web page, but that is the basic structure of HTML. This is the kind of thing you need to know to start building advanced websites, so hopefully you now understand how tags work. You open them and close them. Various tags self-close or don't need to be closed because they have no end tag. Of course, this web page is not on the internet, it's just on my hard drive, or in your case on your hard drive. No one else will be able to see it. To get it online you'd have to find a web host and upload it. There are free ones out there, but again I'm not going to cover any more than basic HTML in this tutorial. So good luck in creating your first web page, and I hope you can then progress to build a full website. Thanks for watching.